Welcome to another episode of Void City Reviews. I'm Toast.
And I am Dan.
And I don't know what we're looking at.
No, you don't, because we're playing another episode, round, game, level, whatever, of What's in the Green Bag on the Floor. The thing I said I wasn't going to call this, but just called it again. Because I don't know what else to call it. Although it's technically what's in the Target bag on the floor. So I was at Target the other day. You know, the place that usually doesn't have figures whenever I go. You find figures that I'm looking for on a regular basis. Not the ones you're looking for, but the ones I'm looking for. I found this one.
Oh. Interesting.
They had the new Call of Duty Spawn figures. That was probably really loud. They had the new Call of Duty Spawn figures there, both of them. I got the one without the big bomb vest, jacket, armored chest thing, because I thought this one looked kind of cool.
This is close to a classic Spawn pre-boot.
Yes, minus just he's got kind of the Mortal Kombat texture, looking almost like the movie had. But he does have a cloth cape, if I'm not mistaken, which was the thing that most drew me to him. I want to see what a cloth cape on one of these Spawn figures looks like. I have a feeling it's just going to go right down to his feet like a regular Batman cape, and that's it.
So this is a clamshell that's going to take 15 minutes to cut open. So
no, I'm going to cut the shit out of it. Because
let's cut and come back.
Because it's enough when those are in the box and there's 800 little plastic ties. And he puts it in this plastic thing like this is electronics I'm going to try to steal. Like, come on.
Oh, I see 2 around his ankles. So there are still some clips you have to, and 1 around the waist. Yeah. It's going to take a bit to open that.
Let's get to it. Last time I think I took our opening speed up to 5,000% to zip through it, so that it was the same length as our theme song. Oh. Let's see what I can do this time. And this cape is just as not as good as I thought it would be. That's it.
That's
it.
Is that an athletic shirt?
I wish it was. It's going to become one. I think Spawn might be getting a new cape, because this is just, what is this? Look at this. Like, this is.
So there was a sheet of fabric, and then Wolverine came and. That's not ideal.
That's not a Spawn cape.
No.
So we're just gonna take that off, and that's just gonna.
That surprisingly makes it look better.
Yeah.
How loose is this? Glued in somewhere? Yeah, it's not glued in.
It's got these little skull guy clips here, so I'm gonna reuse those skull clips, and I'm gonna make him a better cape, because like this just cannot stand. This is. I wouldn't even use this as a Doctor Strange cape on a 6-inch action figure. This is just terrible. Look at this thing. It's so small. Like, Superman's cape is bigger than this. Supergirl's cape is bigger than this. The Supergirl figure's cape is bigger than this.
That's no Spawn cape. This piece is completely free-floating. It could be removed if you so desired. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
The bandoliers?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm going to say that the blacks don't quite match if that's coming in, because the armor is darker than the torso.
Yeah, he's like kind of matte, and the armor is a lot more like shiny.
I'm curious how that happened. He's got a huge skull on his butt.
However, it is not unlike Todd to not paint the back of the figure. It looks a little shinier on the front, but it's still, yeah, it's a bit like this is shiny. This so much looks like movie Spawn. Like, doesn't that kind of look like movie Spawn?
Yes.
He needs greener eyes. That's what he needs. Why are his eyes green at all?
Yes.
They're just really in there.
His abs look skewed. You see it?
I do. And that's another thing. That might be on purpose. I don't know. Todd loves to make the slightly skewed. Remember Kickstarter Spawn?
I can't forget it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of just a thing, and it's almost like maybe he's just doing it in all of them. So you're like, oh, that's what he's supposed to look like. Now I want that figure again. No. I think you just messed up, Todd. I don't know.
Yeah, it's close to a classic Spawn. I think it might need a disassembly.
Nope. There we go. It's just hard to grip him with these stupid bandoliers on him. There we go. That's better. Yeah, so no, this one does not have a tilted torso. He was just posed goofy in the box. But I have fixed him.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that's better.
Yeah, much better.
He was just all tilty. All right, let's.
You want to comment on those ankles?
Well, I don't know. So he's kind of doing this thing on the stand here, where he's not really standing on both feet. He's just kind of standing on one, and it's hard for me to get that to. It's. What? Oh, okay, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's sort of weird. They're a little bit. I don't know if I'd call them loose. They just feel like flexible, like more flexible. They're not as solid as I would like them. Like the actual ball part feels just like it's softer than it should be. They still feel pretty solid. It's just I wish it was more solid.
So I haven't messed with the ankles yet, but is the detent where it's supposed to be for a flat foot, or is it like between detents? Because that tends to be a problem.
There's a detent at all on this one, is there? Oh, there is. Okay, this one. Okay, it does, and it seems to be where it needs to be for him to flat. Yeah. So
that's good.
His feet are where they need to be flat. It's just when it's on the stand, holy God.
He has floating foot syndrome.
Yeah, it floats. It's like boom, and they're not. His legs aren't shorter. It's just. Oh, come on. Oh, it's getting worse.
It is worse now.
It's so bad. Oh, man. Okay, well. So you gotta do weird stuff with them to fix it, but.
Pose dynamically.
Yeah. I don't know, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I might remove the bandoliers and give him a cape and just have this be a nice default spawn. Because this is a nice spawn.
Yeah, it is. The white is crisp.
Yeah.
It's just the Blackstone match.
He needs more green on his eyes because it's really hard to see it. This is one of the most, like, what's the word for it? Recessed eyes into the mask that I've ever seen, almost to the point where, like, from somebody, this almost looks like a hockey mask, what he's wearing over his face. Usually Spawn's eyes are closer to the surface on a lot of the figures, so I want to make them more green and make them pop a lot more than they do, because that's one of the things about Spawn is he has the glowing green eyes. You can't really have Spawn without glowing green eyes. So I call off his spikes. These are little separate pieces glued on there, so you could take both these things off if you wanted to. Same with this, same with this one around here. These are just little rubber pieces that are glued on, so they could similarly be removed like this bandolier. Same with the pouch. Yep, the pouch is, so it's just glued on at the pouch. These are sculpted, the ankles. So ankles and feet are sculpted. Everything else you could remove all his spikes if you want. That's kind of cool. It's almost like a customize your own Spawn kit right here.
So while you were looking at that, I was taking a look at the cape again, and I'm kind of newly pissed off about it. I know that you've already said you're going to replace it. But,
I am.
But why put a wire in there if you're going to cut right here so the wire's useless?
But also, why are you going to put wire in a cape that is so narrow that it can't even do anything? It's so narrow. What could you do with wires on this cape?
I mean, you could have it blowing to the side.
But then it looks like it has little arms because of the way it's cut. It looks like Doctor Strange's cape is all like this looks like a comedy cape for a Spider-Man figure. This is not.
This is a bad cape.
Oof, it is. This kind of makes the paper towel Michael Keaton cape seem better. Like, come on.
I don't understand the texture on it either.
That's all of their fabrics. Part of me makes me believe that is so they know which side is the front and the back.
Oof.
But my fabric that I use for making capes is the same way. One side is smoother, the other side has kind of that little hole texture looking thing into it.
Right.
It's not as defined as this typically tends to be, but it is there. I don't know enough about fabric to be able to answer as to why that is. Probably just something in the how it's made process.
I'm just saying it's a choice that was made by someone.
I honestly believe it is just so that they know which side is the front and the back. And that probably makes it easier to make it.
It's so bizarre.
But I just don't get, it's so narrow. Oh, like it's like a new 52 diamond-shaped Superman cape. That's ridiculous.
I mean, a Spawn cape should be year 2 Batman cape.
Yes. Ginormous. Like, give us at least cloth that's like pooling around, like the way I make Batman capes, like huge. So I'm already lined up to make a Superman and a Batman cape. I guess I got to make a Spawn cape too. I hope there's enough fabric on that red shirt.
Excellent. So he comes with a card.
Yep.
Says Call of Duty.
unfortunately.
It's got better eyes than the actual figure does.
Yeah, it's just the same art that was on the back of the box here.
Slight bio, if you don't know who Spawn or Al Simmons are.
That's one of his bios. Which one is it this week?
Detroit.
Who made him into Spawn this time? Detroit. What?
Born in Detroit, Michigan.
Was Al Simmons from Detroit?
Betrayed by his former colleagues and murdered.
So they're just going with the super generic one. It could have been any one of them, because at some point it was all of, or any one of them. It was Jason Wynn. No, it was, what's her name? No, it was...
Was it Wynn?
No, it was... Or who was it? Who was that guy? Church?
Chapel.
Chapel. Church.
It's always Chapel.
Yeah, it was Chapel, and now it's not Chapel. Then it was
Priest.
Jessica Priest. Yeah, and sometimes it's Wynn, sometimes it's someone else. It's like next it's gonna turn out that like Al Simmons and Overkill went to college together, and then like Al stole a girlfriend from Overkill, and so Overkill like poisoned his French fries, and that's why he went to hell. And I don't know. So it just depends on who sues McFarlane next for being included in the comic against their knowledge.
That's good. That's good. He also comes with, because it's a Call of Duty game, some guns that look like they were reused from one of the weapons packs, which I'm not mad at.
Me either.
I
have one of those packs, and I'll have to dig out. I might have the other one, the second one. I think there's 3 now.
I'm not mad about the reuse. I am slightly mad about the paint job, because like
the red and black.
It's just dude.
It's like Call of Duty skins themed, probably. Okay. That's probably a generic version of how his guns look in there, because they probably themed them to him. They could have saved
money just painting all of it black, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But like that, there's red on there. I'm kind of mad at it.
This one's okay, because that looks kind of normal. I'm surprised actually that they made this one normal. The AK is normal, but everything else gets these red highlights.
There is one more gun that I didn't take out of the package, and it's enormous. I don't remember that one, but I don't remember the weapons packs that well, so that might be reuse as well.
Yeah. And the only thing the question I had was that a lot of times the weapons for the Spawn figures are a lot bigger in scale than they are for the DC figures. I don't know why that is, other than Spawn figures have always had gigantic weapons as opposed to their actual proportions.
Right.
But a lot of times it seems the DC scaled ones are just a little bit smaller, but I think there's both in those packages, to be honest. So yeah, that still is weird. The Spawn figures do still seem like they're just a tad bit bigger than the DC figures, even though they're both supposed to be 7-inch.
Do you know if Al is right or left-handed?
Oh, that's a good question. I do not know.
One hand has a better trigger finger than the other.
Oh.
This one I think you might have to slice open so that the index is more separated from the other fingers in order to get a gun in there. This one is separated enough that...
Oh, like the flashing maybe?
That looks pretty natural.
Stuck it together a little bit in there? Or it's just
look at...
Yeah. Yeah, it's not quite up in there enough.
There's no gap really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could put a gun in there, but it's going to be at a weird angle.
Get an X-Acto blade, pop it in there. So I imagine he's meant to hold guns in both hands. Spawn always has guns in both hands.
Right, especially he's wearing a bandolier.
Yeah, and he's in Call of Duty, so he's going to be dual wielding. Who else is in Call of Duty now? Like
everybody?
Nicki Minaj or something?
What?
So it can be like Spawn versus Nicki Minaj.
What? I don't think he can hold it with two-handed.
No.
But I'm just bad at action figures sometimes, so who knows?
Well, sometimes too, if you take out the shoulder discs, you gain a lot of articulation, and a lot of times the way the figures are made, you don't necessarily even need that shoulder disc.
I'm usually partnered with somebody that's better at posing than I am. So no,
it's fine.
So they'll show me up.
No. He has that problem that a lot of figures have where the chest is just wide and the shoulders can't really angle out past it. So I don't know how else. And he didn't come with any extra hands, did he?
Nope.
Nope, just the guns?
Guns.
He could have benefited from maybe some extra hands to like make...
The support hand.
Yeah. Because...
Almost. Oh. Force it. Break your toy.
Oh, God. Oh! Oh, you poked me. He's fine looking at his guns on the floor.
It's fine.
He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. It's contagious.
It really is.
Like I said before, I got it because it looked cool. I wanted to see the cape, and it looked like a really cool spawn because all my other spawns are on display in a case. Well, they were on display in a case, and someday they will be on display in a case again. All the different Mortal Kombat ones with the different color capes, I have them all lined up. But a lot of my figures now I've gotten into where I'm customizing all the main characters so that I have a really nice one front and center. I think that's what I'm going to do with this spawn. I'm going to give him a really nice, awesome cape. I'm going to touch up his paint some places, and probably going to remove the bandoliers. Might try to find him some real chains for the belt and for the cape. And I'm going to try to make this guy really nice. Probably going to take him apart, see if I can figure out what's going on with his legs, and if I can fix that a little bit. Probably remove the shoulder discs. So really, I'm going to change everything about it, and yeah,
it's a good base to build and to customize. This is, I'm guessing, electronics section, so it's like $30.
It was in a weird place. That's why I was surprised to find it. So I went to the electronics section first, where the collectible stuff is, and there was nothing there. And then I walked down to the toy aisle, and I walked, like, from the electronics section is on the outside wall of the side, so you have to walk down like the outer edge of the whole store and then walk back into the toy aisle from like the outside of it. And there was an end cap on the outside edge of the toy aisle, and they were all like hidden on there. What? And they were like stacked on like a bottom, so there was like a shelf and then another shelf, and they were like stacked in there. So I had to like pull them out to even see what it was. You couldn't even see them. They were just like kind of shoved in there and like forgotten. It was really weird. Target.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was very strange. And they had gotten a lot of stuff that day. There was new DC stuff that day. There was both the 6-inch and the 7-inch ones, and then all these new Spawn figures. 3 of each of these spawns. But yeah, they were on an end cap off in the back, facing like outward, where no one would have seen them unless they like specifically were combing through the end caps on the outer edge looking for like clearance. And they weren't clearance. It was new stuff. Like they had just gotten it.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was very weird. I'm happy I found it.
If this does go on clearance, I might pick one up and do some customizing myself.
I'll keep my eyes open, but that Target has since not had any more. But
mine still has Platinum Captain Boomerang. I don't know how many months old that thing is. Yeah, it's a pretty good spawn.
Yeah.
Could be better. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I guess that's all I have to say about it.
Generally recommend, with a giant asterisk, put in some work.
Yeah, get a better cape. At the very least, you're going to want a better cape or no cape at all. Because if this was last week's comics today, that's going on the floor.
Oh, nice.
So, that said, let us know what you guys think. Did you guys get the other one with the big bomb vest? Let us know what you guys thought about that one. I was curious about it. Is it worth getting? Let me know. Maybe I'll get it if you guys liked it.
What I'm curious about, again, commenters, please.
Yes.
Is that removable, or is
The
that
bomb
all
jacket?
sculpted?
Yeah, let us know that too, because I did not look at it close enough to know if that's just a sculpted chest. Is it just this guy underneath there, or is it a whole different figure? Let us know.
For
I'd like to
customizing
know.
purposes, I would like to know.
I would like to know also. Like and subscribe. I am Dan.
Toast.
And we will see you next time here on Void City Reviews.